Hi, Justin. Today a report came out and stated the university tuition will increase by 13% across the country over the next 4 years. It also revealed that Ontario's tuition has quadrupled over the last 20 years, while the national tuition rate has only tripled. As you know, Ontario is a have-not province, qualified as a have-not province. How will you work with the provinces to improve affordability of tuition?
I think one of the key elements, what you said, is work with the provinces. We have a Prime Minister who hasn't met with all the provincial premiers since the first year he got elected. This Prime Minister doesn't play well with others. And what we need is a government that's actually going to tackle big, important issues that are essential to growth of our economy and growth of our country, like education. One of the things that I've talked about is the need to reach a 70% attainment rate for post-secondary education across this country. Right now we're sitting a little bit above 50%. We need to get that extra 20% because we know that the jobs of the future, 7 out of 10 of them are going to require some form of post-secondary, whether it's university or college or skills development or apprenticeships. There has to be a path that makes post-secondary education both high quality and accessible, and the government has a significant role to play on that, and that's something that I will lead in.
Okay. So under Justin Trudeau majority Liberal government in 2015, how would you address youth unemployment?
I think understanding that we need to make sure that we're investing in the kinds of things that grow our economy. We have an aging population, which means continued healthcare costs as more and more people leave the workforce. We need to make sure that our young people are not just getting jobs, but getting the best jobs possible. A strong economy is one in which the largest number of people have the best possible jobs, and that's something we have to work with institutions, we have to work with provinces, we have to work with the private sector to make sure that there's a path to strong, meaningful employment for a lot of young people.
Now, Foreign Minister John Baird said earlier this week that fighting Islamic extremism is one of the greatest struggles of our generation. Can you comment or do you agree? I know while you were taking some Q&A questions, that came up a couple times, especially the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
I think security in the world is an extremely important issue. We have to make sure that Canada is continuing in its role that it's always had as being an agent acting for peace and security around the world. We stepped up in 2 world wars. We need to continue to step up in the fight against the kind of intolerance and extremism that ISIS is promoting. I mean, the violence, the terrorism of this group cannot be understated, and that's where Canada's role in northern Iraq around humanitarian, around refugee support, but also around supporting the local military to be able to control and fight back against ISIS is something that Canada needs to continue to do.
Another question is, how would you suggest legalizing marijuana? What steps would you take? And, you know, as you mentioned, make sure that it doesn't get in the hands of teenagers.
Well, I think that's exactly what we're so interested in looking at the Colorado and the Washington model. But we do have to understand that the model we have here in Canada will be appropriate for the Canadian context and the Canadian challenge. There's no question that controlling and regulating it will go a long way towards both protecting our young people who won't be able to buy it the way they access it right now from dealers on street corners or in the schoolyards even. While respecting adults' rights to make the choices and not to criminalize these behaviors.
Now, in 2015, how will the Liberal Party make sure that it engages the youth vote? How will you attract that youth vote?
Well, I think one of the things that I demonstrated is an ability to come and actually engage in political conversations. There were no pre-scripted questions. Everyone was invited. I'm happy to take all sorts of questions from people who agree with me, people who don't. Because the kind of politics that we need in this country is politics that is actually open and has room for divergent opinions to try and figure out how to move forward. That's what people want. They don't want the knee bubble ideology, knee-jerk ideology, and the attacks left and right. They want to see people working together to serve this country and build a better future, and that's what I'm focused on. And I'm confident from the kind of reaction I've had across the country from young people that we're on the right track.
Now, finally, if you get elected to government, how will you help UW with its geese problem?
I know you guys have a pretty good culinary school here in KW, so as a Quebecer, my answer would be more foie gras.
Okay. What does that mean exactly?
See, there's a need for foie gras.